So we're here because one of the reasons for this week's class is called Program-Based Zero-Based Budgeting. It's a sometimes difficult concept, but a really important one for nonprofits to understand. The idea being that everything you do is based on your programs. The word overhead should go away and should be replaced with zero-based program-based budgeting. So in other words, everything you do are services, which you have, and your salary has to be there because part of what you do is run all these different programs.
Right.
So in order to do that, you have to create a budget that actually shows indirect and direct costs. The idea is that Rose's budget includes however many programs she has, but her salary is allocated based on how much time you're spending into each of those different programs, so that you can get a real idea of what the real cost of each of your programs is. It's fantastic when you write for grants because a grant maker, while they might only fund the direct costs, will see that the indirect costs make it a total amount. Other funders, especially individuals, will then understand not only that you can raise money from grants, which we all know is a great way, but also that there's a difference that has to be made up by an individual donation. So I have a question for Rose,
Okay.
and that is, I know you've done program-based, zero-based budgeting. How hard was it to do?
You know, the first time I did it, it was really, it took some time to organize it because we use QuickBooks and it was really in a format where we were preparing for the IRS. So we had just three categories, basically. We had management, we had fundraising, we had program. And then we had some granularity, but not the level that I needed for doing a program-based budget. So then I took the information from QuickBooks and then looked at how much time I was spending and how much time our office manager is spending to support those programs, and then spread that across all of the programs. And then I also allocated, for example, our liability insurance,
Right.
the rent for the facility. I ended up, depending on how much space or how much time those programs take, I spread those costs across each of the programs too. So it's been really interesting and enlightening to see how much our actual services cost.
Any special things you've discovered?
What I realized is that with the program-based budget, it's really helpful to do this every year or maybe every other year because the amount of effort that you might put into a startup program, for example, those costs will be higher per client or per client encounter will be higher the first year or two, and then hopefully they even out. So that was one of the aha moments that I had. I also realized that the services that, like for outreach, when we do outreach, we reach a lot of people when we do outreach. So when our outreach costs are spread across all of the people that we touch, those costs end up looking really fairly inexpensive compared to our direct client work where we're doing really intensive work with people, really staff-intensive work. Those costs are higher. So it was a great educational tool for our board to see and think about.
We're actually here at Humboldt Area Foundation today because she's having a board retreat. I'm curious because I just walked in on a program-based budgeting discussion. What do you think the reaction of your board has been to program-based, zero-based budgeting?
They loved it. It was cool because Gia helped us actually take the information from the big spreadsheet where I spread all the information across and put it in a 2-page document that had each of our programs. We don't have that many programs, descriptions of what the programs are, the number of clients and the number of client contacts, and then the cost per, the whole cost per that program, and then the cost per client or cost per client encounter. So the board went, wow, this is so helpful. It's on 2 pages. And then they asked more questions about, will you put some explanations about, like that was a startup program this year, so the costs are higher this year. So that they can then use that information to talk to people in the community, supporters, or other future board members. Or they were really excited about it.
So I guess what I'd like to say in conclusion is that program-based budgeting not only helps you with fundraising, it also empowers your board to make wise decisions. It gives you good insight to what starting up a new project or program could be, and it's a very wise thing for you to implement. There are some wonderful things in the workbook, tools that you'll be able to use this week, and of course I'm always available by email.